Hello dear students, I am Mrs. Shubham Rajesh Patil. Welcome you all to study 15th chapter hydrocarbons. In the previous presentation, we have seen some part of alkenes, especially how are they prepared and what are their physical properties. So today we will be studying chemical properties and uses of alkenes. Alkenes are more reactive due to the presence of pi electrons as compared to alkanes. They undergo electrophilic addition reactions. The different reactions of alkenes are given here. Addition of dihydrogen, which is called as hydrogenation, and addition of halogens, which is called as halogenation reaction. So let's see how they take place. Addition of halogens takes place in presence of carbon tetrachloride at room temperature. Alkenes are converted into corresponding vicinal dihalides by addition of halogens, chlorine or bromine. So here is the general reaction. Carbon-carbon double bond represents alkene. We are adding halogen X2 in presence of CCl4, that is carbon tetrachloride. Double bond will get converted into single bond and new valencies are created with each of the carbon atom, which will get completed with two halogen atoms. So one halogen will go to the first carbon, the other halogen will go to the next carbon, and thus vicinal dihalide will get formed. Here is the example of addition of chlorine to ethene. Double bond is converted into single bond and each carbon will take up 1 chlorine. So we got the product 1,2-dichloroethane. Iodine generally will fail to react. So addition of bromine will take place in the same manner. This is very useful test for detection of carbon-carbon double bond in unknown compounds. Red-brown color of bromine rapidly disappears in carbon tetrachloride solution if carbon-carbon double bond is present in the compound. So, propene will react with red-brown colored bromine in presence of carbon tetrachloride at room temperature, and double bond wherever is present, their addition of bromine will take place, will get 1,2-dibromopropane as the product. So on the reactant side, if you will see, the solution was red brown in color, but on product side the solution is colorless. That means presence of double bond will make the color of bromine disappear, and that will indicate presence of double bond in the given unknown compound. So this is one of the tests to detect carbon-carbon double bond. Now let's see how addition of hydrogen halide takes place. The reaction is called as hydrohalogenation reaction. Addition of hydrogen halide like hydrogen chloride, hydrogen bromide, hydrogen iodide converts alkenes into corresponding alkyl halide. The order of reactivity of hydrogen halides is Hi greatest, then HBr and HCl will have lowest reactivity. Let's see the general reaction. Alkene having carbon-carbon double bond is treated with hydrogen halide HX. It can be either HCl or HBr or HI. Double bond will get open up. Hydrogen will go to one carbon, halogen will go to the other carbon, and thus will get alkyl halide. Addition reaction of HBr to symmetrical alkene will take place to form only one product. So ethene is symmetrical alkene. You make two parts of alkene along double bond and both the parts are same, CH2, CH2. So the alkene is symmetrical. We are adding HBr to it and we'll get bromoethane as the product. Now see, bromine is added to this carbon atom, we got bromo. If any bromine is added to this carbon atom, then also we get the same product. This happens in symmetrical alkenes. But if given alkene is unsymmetrical, then two different products will be formed. So experimentally it has been found that when propene is treated with HBr, 2-bromopropane is the major product. So how it has formed? Russian chemist Markovnikov studied hydrohalogenation of a number of unsymmetrical alkenes and formulated a general rule in 1869. The rule is called as Markovnikov's rule. What does it state? When an unsymmetrical reagent is added to unsymmetrical alkene, the negative part of the reagent, that is halogen in this case, gets attached to the carbon atom which carries less number of hydrogen atoms. Now let's apply this Markovnikov's rule to propene, in which we are carrying out addition of hydrogen bromide. So double bond is present between first and second carbon atom, that will get open. One carbon will take up hydrogen, the other one will take up halogen. Now the question, which carbon will take up halogen, is solved by Markovnikov's rule. You will have to search for the carbon which has lesser number of hydrogen. So see the middle carbon atom, this has only one hydrogen, the other one has two hydrogen atoms. You will have to consider only those carbon atoms where the double bond is present. So the middle carbon atom has lesser number of hydrogen and bromine will go to that carbon atom. So 2-bromopropane will be the major product. 1-bromopropane also will get formed, but that will be the minor product during the reaction. Addition reaction of HBr to unsymmetrical alkene in presence of organic peroxide takes place according to anti-Markovnikov's rule, which is also called as peroxide effect or Kharash-Mayo effect. In 1933, M.S. Kharash and F.R. Mayo discovered that addition of HBr to unsymmetrical alkene in the presence of organic peroxide ROOR takes place in the opposite orientation to that suggested by Markovnikov's rule. So thus Markovnikov's rule will get reversed and this effect is then called as anti-Markovnikov's addition. So propene is treated with HBr in presence of benzoyl peroxide, that is organic peroxide, and you can see now the Markovnikov's rule is reversed. In Markovnikov's rule, this peroxide will not be present. Bromine goes to the carbon having lesser number of hydrogen, but now bromine will go to the carbon having greater number of hydrogen and 1-bromopropane will be obtained as the major product for this reaction. Here is another example of 2-methyl-prop-1-ene in which HBr is added again in presence of peroxide. So once on the arrow peroxide is written, we are carrying out the reaction in peroxide and then peroxide effect is required to decide the major product formed during the reaction. So again this double bond will get open up and this time bromine will get attached to the carbon having more number of hydrogen over here. This carbon doesn't have any hydrogen. So across the double bond addition is taking place. In case of Markovnikov's rule, you will not write peroxide and the addition will take place as the negative part will go to the carbon having lesser number of hydrogen. When you are writing peroxide, Kharash-Mayo effect will be observed and halogen will, that is negative part, will go to the carbon carrying greater number of hydrogen and thus 1-bromo-2-methyl-propane will get formed as the product during the reaction. Now here is addition of sulfuric acid. Alkenes react with cold concentrated sulfuric acid to form alkyl hydrogen sulfate R alkyl group OSO3H. The addition takes place according to Markovnikov's rule again. If alkyl hydrogen sulfate is diluted with water and heated, then alcohol having same alkyl group as the original alkyl hydrogen sulfate is obtained. So this is excellent method for large scale manufacture of alcohols. Let's see how it is carried out. Alkene is treated with cold and concentrated sulfuric acid H2SO4. Now OSO3H is the negative part over here that will go to the carbon having lesser number of hydrogen, because according to Markovnikov's rule the addition will take place. Hydrogen will go to the another carbon atom. Thus alkyl hydrogen sulfate will get formed as the product, and further will react this with water to form corresponding alcohol. So here is the example of action of cold and concentrated sulfuric acid on ethene. At the first step, we'll get ethyl hydrogen sulfate. Hydrogen will go to this carbon, OSO3H group to the another carbon, double bond is converted into single bond. Here is the example of propene. Now propene is unsymmetrical alkene. Across the double bond, make two parts. Both the parts are not same. On one side we have two carbon atoms present. On the other side we have only one carbon atom present. So this alkene is unsymmetrical. So whenever you will come across unsymmetrical alkene, you are adding unsymmetrical reagent, you will have to think about Markovnikov's rule. So now you can see here the double bond is present between these two carbon atoms. The middle carbon has one hydrogen, terminal one has two hydrogen atoms with it. So negative part, that is OSO3H part, will go to the carbon having less number of hydrogen, that is at the middle position, and isopropyl hydrogen sulfate will get formed over here. Now this isopropyl hydrogen sulfate further is treated with water on heating. This SO3H part will get converted into sulfuric acid and hydrogen will come over here to form OH group. Alkyl group will remain same and will get alcohol, that is propan-2-ol. And in this way, by following these two steps, at the first step action of cold and concentrated sulfuric acid on alkene will get corresponding alkyl hydrogen sulfate, which is heated with water will get corresponding alcohol. We can prepare alcohols through these two steps. So reactive alkenes on adding water molecules in the presence of concentrated sulfuric acid will form alcohols. So here is ethyl hydrogen sulfate, with water it is heated, and this OSO3H group, wherever it is attached, there will get OH group. Addition of water takes place according to Markovnikov's rule. So 2-methyl-prop-1-ene we have taken, we are adding water, we are carrying out hydration of alkene. Negative part in water is OH group, that will go to the carbon having lesser number of hydrogen. So OH group gets attached to this carbon and hydrogen will get attached to the first carbon. Thus 2-methyl-propan-2-ol will be the major product for this reaction. Now we'll see ozonolysis of alkenes, where we'll treat alkenes with ozone molecule. So carbon-carbon double bond will get cleaved on reaction with ozone followed by reduction. This overall process of formation of ozonide by reaction with ozone with alkene in the first step and then decomposing it to the carbonyl compounds by reduction in the second step is called as ozonolysis. Ozone gas is passed into the solution of alkene in an inert solvent like carbon tetrachloride. Unstable alkene ozonide is obtained at this step. This is subsequently treated with water in presence of a reducing agent like zinc dust to form carbonyl compounds, namely aldehydes, and or ketones will get formed. So So this is about ozonolysis. We'll see how the reaction of ozonolysis takes place. This is general reaction. Here is carbon-carbon double bond, that is alkene, is treated with O3 molecule, ozone molecule, in presence of carbon tetrachloride as solvent, and you can see formation of alkene ozonide. This double bond is broken. 3 oxygen atoms will enter in between carbon atoms in this way. 1 oxygen between 2 carbon atoms, and then 1 oxygen to each of the carbon, and cyclic ozonide will get formed. Now come to the second step of the reaction, where water and reducing agent like zinc dust are treated with alkene ozonide. The bonds will break as shown by the dotted lines over here. So this oxygen will get separated out, which will combine with zinc to form zinc oxide. Now we are left with this carbon and oxygen. So carbon oxygen double bond will get formed. We are left with this carbon and oxygen. Again carbon oxygen double bond will get formed. Now depending on how these valencies are completed, we'll get corresponding aldehydes, ketones. That means carbonyl compounds are obtained as the final product of the ozonolysis reaction. Let's take some examples. Here is ozonolysis of ethene. So ethene double bond will break. Now see, wherever double bond is present, there O3 molecule will get added up. And how to add it? 1 oxygen between 2 carbon atoms, and then remaining 2 oxygen atoms, 1 at each carbon. So this ring will get formed over here between 2 carbon atoms. Ethene ozonide is obtained. Second step, water and zinc dust are treated. Now the ring will break of ozonide. This oxygen is separated, which will combine with zinc, forming zinc oxide. So we got HCH double bond O, that is formaldehyde. The another part also is same, because alkene is symmetrical, will get same molecules getting formed for 2 times. So formaldehyde, 2 molecules are formed. You can write as 2 formaldehyde molecules also. Now second example is ozonolysis of propene. Now this one is unsymmetrical alkene. So let's see how different products may get formed during the ozonolysis. The reaction will remain same. O3 molecule will get added up across the double bond in the same manner, that between 2 carbon atoms we have added 1 oxygen, and then each carbon has taken up 1 oxygen. The ring formation will take place over here. It is called as propene ozonide. Now once water and zinc dust are added, this ring will break. Oxygen takes up zinc, forming zinc oxide, and you can now see this is HCCH3 and double bond O, that is acetaldehyde. The another part is formaldehyde. So we are getting 2 different molecules of aldehyde. Here is the reaction of hydroboration oxidation of alkene. This is again very important reaction, because it will result in formation of alcohols, which are very important reagents. Now alkenes with diborane in tetrahydrofuran, that is THF solvent, undergo hydroboration to form trialkyl borane, which on oxidation with alkaline peroxide forms primary alcohol. The overall reaction gives anti-Markovnikov's product from the unsymmetrical alkenes, and how the reaction is taking place, that we'll see through this general reaction. 6 molecules of alkene are taking part in the reaction with diborane BH3 twice in presence of tetrahydrofuran as the solvent, and will get trialkyl borane molecule, which is further treated with hydrogen peroxide H2O2, and will get primary alcohol molecule, 3 molecules of primary alcohol, and boron will take up 3 OH groups. So this bracket part will take up 3 OH groups, boron will take up 3 OH groups, and will get primary alcohol as the product. Now let's see some examples. Here is hydroboration oxidation of ethene. 6 molecules of ethene we have taken. We have treated it with diborane BH3 twice in presence of tetrahydrofuran as the solvent, and now you can see CH3CH2 part for 3 times boron, that is triethyl borane is formed. You can see in this structure how exactly is the arrangement of carbon atoms. This triethyl, 3 times ethyl groups, 1, 2 and 3, triethyl borane. In the second step, we'll treat it with 3 molecules of hydrogen peroxide in alkaline medium of NaOH. So we'll get these 3 OH groups getting attached to these 3 carbon atoms forming ethanol, and remaining 3 OH groups going with boron forming BOH thrice. So likewise, we are getting primary alcohols through primary alcohols are formed through hydroboration oxidation reaction of alkenes. Here is one more example of propene, but the reaction will take place exactly in the same manner. Propene 6 molecules will take with diborane BH3 molecule in presence of tetrahydrofuran solvent, and tri-N-propyl borane will get formed as the product. So double bond will get open up and each carbon will get attached to boron. These 3 hydrogen will come to each of these carbon atoms. So CH3 group will remain same. CH group will get converted into CH2 group and the CH2 group will remain same. Further, we'll react this tri-N-propyl borane with 3 molecules of hydrogen peroxide in alkaline medium, and we'll get propan-1-ol with BOH thrice molecule. So this is all about hydroboration oxidation of alkenes. Now let's see how polymerization takes place. The process in which a large number of small molecules join together and form very large molecules with repeating units is called polymerization. The compound having very large molecules made of large number of repeating small units is called polymer, and the simple compound forming the repeating units in the polymer is called monomer. For example, ethene at high temperature and under high pressure interacts with oxygen and undergoes polymerization, giving high molecular weight polymer called polythene. So here is the reaction how polythene is formed. N number of ethene molecules are taking part in the reaction. So this is our monomer, single unit, which undergoes polymerization in presence of oxygen on heating under pressure. This polymerization reaction is taking place. We have taken many molecules of ethene. So double bond will get opened up and this is one ethene molecule getting linked to another ethene molecule, and the chain will keep on continuing on both the sides. So we'll write it as bracket for n times. So polythene polymer is formed. N represents the number of repeating units and it is a large number. Hydroxylation is the important reaction of alkenes. Alkenes react with cold dilute alkaline potassium permanganate to form glycols. Now what are glycols? They are 1,2 diols where 2 OH groups are present at the adjacent position. Hydroxylation of alkenes is the important method for synthesis of 1,2 diols, that is glycols. During this reaction, the purple color of KMnO4 disappears. Hence, such reactions serve as qualitative test for detecting the presence of double bond in the compound under test. This test is known as Bayer's test. So see how it is taking place. Ethene is treated with water and oxygen in presence of alkaline KMnO4. So once we have added alkaline KMnO4, the solution will turn purple in color. Now double bond will get open up. OH group will go to one carbon atom. Another OH group will go to another carbon atom, and thus two OH groups we are getting at the adjacent position. We are getting 1,2-diol, which is called as glycol. So this is ethane 1,2-diol, which is also called as ethylene glycol. Now take the another example of propene. You can see 1, 2 and 3 carbon atoms over here, and double bond is present between first and second carbon atom. We are adding water in presence of oxygen. We are carrying out hydroxylation reaction by using alkaline potassium permanganate KMnO4. So double bond will get open up and will get two OH groups at each of the carbon atoms, and thus propane 1,2-diol will get formed as the product. Here is the oxidation reaction of alkenes. They undergo oxidation with acidic potassium permanganate or acidic potassium dichromate to form ketones and or acids. Prop-1-ene will get converted into ethanoic acid. One of the carbon atom, this carbon atom will get detached. This carbon will get converted into carbon dioxide by taking two oxygen atoms from here. Then hydrogen will get converted into water. So we are left with only two carbon atoms to form acid, and thus ethanoic acid will get formed. Here is example of 2-methyl-but-2-ene, which is undergoing oxidation in presence of potassium permanganate in acidic medium. This nascent oxygen indicates oxidation is taking place. So double bond will get break over here, molecule will break over here. So three carbon atoms on one side forming propane 2 on. In this case ketone is getting formed, and two carbon atoms will get converted into acid, which is ethanoic acid. So likewise we are getting ketones and acids by oxidation of alkenes. So these were the chemical properties of alkenes. Now let's see what are the uses of alkene. Alkenes are used as starting materials for preparation of alkyl halides, alcohols, aldehydes, ketones, acids, etc. We have seen many chemical properties of alkenes where alkenes are converted into all such organic compounds. Then ethene and propene are used to manufacture polyethylene, polypropylene. Those find use in bags, toys, bottles, etc. Ethene is used for artificial ripening of fruits such as mangoes. So these are some of the important uses of alkenes, and with this we have finished with the topic of alkenes. Thank you so much all the students for your listening.